All right, guys, time to talk about the good stuff. Threesomes. No, wait, I meant trios. I meant trios. Hello and welcome to FTTR. I am Hugh McQuaid, and today we are talking about some news, a nice juicy bit of WWE news, trios, titles. Now, before I dive into that, please hit subscribe, please like the video, please comment on this video, not about threesomes, about trios, titles, please. I'm not monetized, but I would be demonetized, more than likely. Oh dear. But, yes, please subscribe to my rambly little channel from the top rope. Love you guys. So yeah, let's dive into some news. So, it was reported, it wasn't reported, it has been stated by Kofi Kingston himself in an interview with NBC Sports Boston that anything is possible when it comes to trios titles in WWE. Now, trios titles for the longest time have sort of been an indie staple. So the two big indie promotions that everyone talks about, you've got New Japan and you've got Ring of Honor. Before AEW was formed, they had the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team titles. You've got the IWGP 6-man tag team titles, and a lot of others, I believe. I think there may well be the Never Open Weight 6-man tag team titles, and a few other sort of divisions of trios titles in Japan. So AEW then sprung onto the scene. Everyone was clamoring for trios titles. We've got trios titles, and Brawl Out happened. And trios titles have sort of been relegated to something that doesn't particularly matter. So, with that being said, it's never really crossed my mind the idea of having trios titles in WWE. I think under the Vince McMahon regime of things, trios just weren't really a thing. Apart from the New Day and the Bloodline, I can't really think of any other trios that were a thing during Vince McMahon's tenure. Now, little asterisks, trios that were treated well. So the OC were around during Vince McMahon's tenure. Let's not talk about how they were booked. And Sanity were actually under Vince McMahon's regime at one point. Let's not talk about them. But now Triple H has taken over, and we know he loves his factions. He's a big man on factions, like his the Undisputed Era were his baby. He had Sanity, he had kind of a faction, AOP with Paul Ellering, they kind of a faction. He liked his boys, and as you can tell from his, forming of factions on the main roster, the Brawling Brutes coming together, Imperium, the Bloodline, the New Day, all still there. You've now got Legado Delta Phantasmo on there, you've got Hit Row back. There's a lot of factions sort of forming, and this is all spawned from the rumor idea that we've got Crazy Nikki Cross back, and we could potentially get Sanity back in the WWE. Now, that as a whole, I'm not entirely for. I think Damo and Axel Tischer are doing incredible work on the indie scene. I don't want to see a case where indie guys just all get scooped up by Triple H's power-hungry hands again. But yeah, they could very well be on their way back to WWE, and we could see, in the words of Kofi Kingston, we could see trios titles in WWE, and I think that's actually a good idea, because the tag titles currently are stuck on the Usos, and you've got one feud there between two shows, essentially. Same with the world title. I think actually adding in the trios titles would be quite an interesting story. You could have the Usos pleading with Sami Zayn to help them claim the trios titles as more gold for the faction, while also defending their tag team titles. You could have the Brawling Brutes and Imperium in the final, and that sort of blood feud boil over like that. You could have Legado del Phantasmo be cemented by winning these titles and defending them across every brand. Or you could have the tag titles on Raw and the trios titles on SmackDown. You could have the trios titles on Raw and the tag titles on SmackDown. You could differentiate the shows like that, and I think that makes it a lot more interesting, because right now I can't actually tell you the feud for the tag team titles. I think it's the New Day, but New Day Usos is not fresh in the slightest. They had bangers in 2017, we can put the New Day Usos to bed now. Unless we get Bloodline Usos, and that adds a new dynamic in terms of trios fighting each other, if Big E as well to compete. So I actually think adding trios titles into WWE would freshen up the programming a lot. Because the issue with adding trios titles to AEW is it is already saturated with divisions. You have the tag division, you have the TNT title, you have Ring of Honor titles, you've got FTR and all their belts. You have a lot of belts, so it doesn't necessarily feel as special as it would have if they introduced trios titles during AEW's first year. But I think adding this fresh idea into WWE programming is a good one. And I think there were rumours that new belts were potentially on the horizon, with Triple H maybe redesigning some of them. I wonder if he has thought of the idea to introduce trios belts to the main roster. There was the rumour of the European Championship making a return, and that being what is defended on NXT Europe as well as the main roster, which is a very, very tasty idea. And yeah, we'll see where it goes from here with the addition of new belts. I don't necessarily think we need more belts in WWE, but I think if we have different divisions, then it is okay. If the trios division is its own unique thing, where we get banging trios matches at pay-per-views and well-built feuds, I think they could be a good catalyst for a lot of teams to get a bit more of a spotlight. Personally, you could add one more person to Alpha Academy, I don't know who, and then they will be a killer faction to hold the trios titles. And I didn't even mention the Judgment Day, because they're right there as well. And the OC. I don't think I mentioned the OC. There's a lot of teams that could vie for these trios titles, and I think strike while the iron is hot. I hope it's coming. I think it might be. So let's just be happy. Let's just be happy for trios titles. Trios divisions. We like trios divisions when they're treated well. Tony Khan, just bring the elite back. It's what you wanted to do at the end of the day. Just bring them back, okay? Sorted. What do you think of trios titles? Do you want trios titles in WWE? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll try and reply to every single one of you. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.